Weird. Yeah.
I just watched the clips. Like, I have some real sicko friends who watched from start to finish the Falcons preseason game against the Lions last week.
Sorry.
And I'm just like, I can't. Like the game winning
I didn't
heave
even
by
watch
Ritter.
it.
It was.
No.
I just need the clips. I need the clips, and it's like, oh, Quadri was good. All right, interesting.
Like, if you want to go, like, I have a buddy of mine took his son to a Chiefs game. That's cool. Like, if you want to do that, but if you're expecting me to invest as much time in trying to figure out roster A, roster B, position battle 1, position battle 2, I don't care. Like, I just
the man doesn't care. Sorry, NFL.
Yeah,
Andrew
the funny
Hammond
thing is,
has spoken.
I'm actually trying to get back into the NFL. More, I guess, more in depth as just a fan this year, because it's hard to do that a little bit when you're in the, when you're on a sports desk, and 2, you're in the home of an NFL team. So it's pretty difficult to, focus on the league at large when you've got your own team to worry about first.
Which naturally brings us to the Knicks preferring to keep Quentin Grimes over RJ Barrett.
Is it the Knicks minute?
It's the Knicks.
Oh, yay. Let me turn my mic off.
That's
Bob,
the theme song for
the Knicks minute.
Yeah, there was evidently the Knicks and the Jazz executives all were on their summer vacations in various far-flung locales for a month and stopped talking. Look at Andrew. He's so miserable.
Oh, no, I'm not miserable. I'm just laying back listening to this.
Just have it. You want to grab that coffee, man. Just get some caffeine.
Oh, no, you're good. Yourself. No, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
I'm just laying back listening to
this
hilarity.
Go resume the position. You're fine. So the first report that we've gotten in probably a month was a Shams blog and tweet in which he said that negotiations have resumed, but nothing is imminent. There is a clear logic for giving up. Wow, gone. He's out. Hammond out. Mm-hmm. There is a logic for giving up RJ Barrett in this trade, and I would be surprised if Utah wants to. I'm still like, I don't think Utah has any desire to pay RJ Barrett what he's going to get, which is going to be frighteningly close to the max.
So are we certain that that's what he's going to get?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's a really good player, though. He really improved last year.
He is. I
just don't see it with Grimes. Like, I don't understand the whole Grimes part of this.
There's a lot of Grimes momentum. The love.
Explain Quentin Grimes to me as someone who did not watch a bunch of Quentin Grimes last year. Explain this to me.
The archetype of the fully realized version of Quentin Grimes is a valuable player in the NBA. He is a large, not huge wing. He's not like a 6'7", 6'8" wing, but he is a 6'4.5", 6'5" wing, but he's got long arms and excellent defensive chops. He can credibly guard pretty much every 2 and 3. And if you need him to switch on to a longer stretch 4, he can do it. He is an excellent shooter. He's got a very quick release, and he's also got a very high release. So when that shot he can get that shot off quickly whenever he needs to, because he was a hot prospect before he got into Kansas. You can see the remnants of a dribble on the ball creation game. It's there. He was a point guard in high school, and people thought he was going to be a ball dominant scorer. He ended up going to Houston, becoming a really 3-and-D specialist. But there is room for growth. But that said, he's a 22-year-old wing who's played 40 games in the NBA. I would say the hype has possibly exceeded the reality to the point where Quentin Grimes is really the sticking point in this trade. And I'm like, look, I say this as someone who may have in a blog compared Landry Fields to John Havlicek at one point.
Is this on knickerblogger.net?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I may have actually thrown it in one of the ESPN 5-on-5 roundtables. I may have done that.
Oof. We were all in on the Landry Fields, Jeremy Lin combo.
Landry Fields, his rookie year, that being the 2010-2011 season, he averaged 10 and 7 as a shooting guard and nearly 50% from the field. He was good. He was very good.
He was a D'Antoni type guy.
He was a good defensive player. He was a good shooter. He was a good athlete.
Unselfish player.
Lots to like about him.
Now he's the GM of the Hawks.
He was the main sticking point in the Carmelo Anthony trade. The Knicks decided they could give up everybody. And not
even Andy Routens.
Landry Fields. Yeah. Andy Routens, by the way, there is a show. It's hard to find on YouTube. You kind of got to dig around and get it. There's a show that ran on the MSG network, or an MSG's like YouTube channel, called the Andy and Landry Show. Or it may have been the Landry and Andy show.
I have a little bit of a memory about this.
Like
yeah.
I remember a little.
It's basically it's pre-TikTok type videos of Landry Fields and his buddy Andy Routens doing stuff, like going to a bowling alley or hanging out with fans. I did not watch it when it aired. I was only sort of vaguely aware that it existed because it would come on after. I think it would be on the MSG network maybe after the Knicks post game or something like that. But in any case, why everyone is so agog over Quentin Grimes, where Utah is like, that's the guy we have to have. I don't know. I think he's good. He's fun to watch. He's eminently replaceable at this point, though. So,
but you're not really surprised that Tibbs would prefer to keep Grimes over RJ.
No, because because there's a question. In order for RJ Barrett to be successful, he needs a very specific kind of roster around him. Like RJ Barrett's main strength is he can get to the hoop whenever he wants. That is an excellent strength to have if you are the primary scorer for a team. The downside is RJ Barrett hasn't really been able to score that efficiently when he gets to the hoop. And he's still shooting free throws in the low 70s at best. So what you have is a high volume, ball dominant scorer that teams are kind of okay with doing a lot of high volume scoring. Now, he'll get better at finishing at the rim. How much better, I don't know. And he's still not what you would call a good shooter. So you need 4 3-point threats around him to build a credible 2023 era NBA offense. And you can do that, but it's not like you can slot RJ Barrett into a number of different roles on offense and still have him thrive. He's right now got one role, and he's not even particularly good at it as is. On the other hand, Quentin Grimes, there are no teams where you can say, oh, I can't find a use for Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes is not going to be a 20-point a game scorer, but you can find absolutely Quentin Grimes can be a success on a number of different rosters.
Well, do you think for RJ Barrett? I think they have to be considering Donovan in all this, Donovan and Jalen.
Yes.
So who does RJ
if Donovan and Jalen are going to be the primary ball handler in, I don't know, they're both going to have a usage over in like the 30s. So that's 60% of your offensive possessions. Right now, Julius Randle is still on the roster. Like, you look at it and you go,
I think he has to be included, right, with the money. Like, I think he'd
no, not necessarily. There are ways to give up. You can do it with, your old buddy Cam Reddish and Derrick Rose. You can do it with.
Derek's not going anywhere.
You can do it with Evan Fournier as the contract that's going out. You don't need to trade Randall.
Didn't Ainge sign Fournier? Wasn't he the one who signed him to that long-term deal, or was that Stevens?
Stevens didn't sign him to a long-term deal in Boston. They picked him up in a trade.
Yeah. So it was New York who originally did the long-term deal.
New York did it. New York gave him 3 years, $18 million per.
Boston just traded for him.
Boston traded for him. New York gave him 18 per for 4 years. Fourth year is a mutual option.
And again, do we Google Evan Fournier or no? Is that a
no? That's
don't Google Evan
no,
Fournier.
we don't Google.
No, we don't do that.
No, we don't. Google.
So, the reasons why an executive would prefer Quentin Grimes are quite clear. I think his value's gotten a little overhyped. He had a very good summer league, which, as we know, means everything in terms of player development in the NBA. Just ask I don't know Marco Bellinelli or Josh Selby.
Josh Selby.
Some of your preseason.
Wasn't he like a 2-time Summer League MVP or something? I feel like Selby was awesome.
Selby was awesome in the Summer League. So was Bellinelli.
Yeah.
Anthony Randolph had some monster Summer League games.
Taking me back to the
He's only 33
network days.
He could be a rotation player. No one denies this. Anyway, that's the end of the Knicks Minute. The trade's going to happen at some point before.
That's what it seems like. They were taking a vacation, and they're like, we're not doing it right now, but we'll come back.
The Knicks were in Ibiza, and the Jazz were at like Sandals in Jamaica or something like that. Now they're all back and on their phones again.
There you go. Andrew, when you hear that the Pacers envision Tyrese Haliburton as their next Reggie Miller, what do you think?
Jesus.
They think he's going to be a Ferengi in a Star Trek episode?
Ooh, there you go.
Wow, took shots fired at Richie.
Yeah, I'm just.
It's a very August.